There were no votes taken in executive session. Uh, Reorganization, election of officers of school committee, Mr. Palmieri.
I nominate the same slate that was there for last year.
Motion by Mr. Palmieri, seconded by Mr. Iannetta. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted. Next item.
Next item on the agenda, every month, Chairman Marciano and members of the school committee, we've been having an elementary presentation. This evening, we are having a presentation from McGuire Elementary School, and Thomas Maha, the principal there, is coming to the podium.
Okay, Mr. Maha.
Good evening. Is it difficult for you to see the screen from where you are at the moment? You're okay. Good evening, Chairman Marciano, the school committee, Superintendent Smith, and central office staff. I'm happy to say that this is my 14th year in the district, and tonight we're going to celebrate 3 areas of McGuire School. The first being our science kneecap scores, our multi-tiered levels of support, as well as our English language learner program. And that's me. You'll see on the top of the slide, this is going to be our new letterhead that was designed by one of the faculty members of our school. The mission of James L. McGuire Elementary School is to provide a safe, nurturing environment of mutual respect while inspiring children to achieve their academic potential as lifelong learners. Students will be valued for their individuality and diverse capabilities as they are taught to face the future and contribute to society with compassion, courage, knowledge, and vision. We've got some more familiar faces. This is our faculty of McGuire School, and their combined years of experience represent over 30 decades of experience and expertise. Yeah, so that's 30 years. Yeah, 30 years, right? Oh, 30 years. 30. Thank you, Mr. De Silva. And this is our highly qualified faculty. And we've got quite a few of them here representing. They're to my left. So thank you for coming out tonight. These are our demographics. We have a total of 270 students. 105 students make up the American Indian, Alaskan Native, Asian, African American, Hispanic, or 2 or more races. 165 white students. Our ELL program students make up 31 students, and 23 are actively in the program, while the difference, we have 8 that are being monitored. We also have 57 special education students. Very proud to point out our kneecap results. We came out first. So 55% of our students were proficient. That's above the state average of 40, and that was an increase of 14% from the previous year. So we've been doing a lot of celebrating regarding our kneecap results, and just the other day we had a celebratory breakfast with our 5th grade students. Our initiatives for 2015 and 16 in regards to science is to continue with our scientific inquiry with our high scores on the science kneecap test throughout scientific discovery, experiments, and collaboration among students. And that we have assistance from Ron DiFranzo, who comes into our school maybe 6 to 8 times a year. He works particularly with the grade 4 students. He was in just last week, and he was doing a review of a science inquiry experiment with the students. Also, the FOSS kits have been added to all of our schools, and we contribute those also to assisting us with our successes in science. Continuing with our initiatives, we're going to continue with scientific inquiry through high scores on our NECAP test scores through the increased use of science materials. We have both fiction and nonfiction, and we have a teacher library, which is in the picture to the left. We are also members of a number of science periodicals that are shared among all of the faculty. And we also have a new series of nonfiction for our English language learners students. Continuing with our initiatives, we have started translating all PTA notification to parents into Spanish, and we have help with our PTA as well as 2 parents, one parent that's presently with us in the school, and one that the child is now in the Ritchie School. So in this slide, you'll see I included the October PTA calendar as well as the walkathon, and that is in Spanish. Notification also regarding behavior has also been translated into Spanish, and on the left-hand side is the English, and on the right-hand side is the Spanish version. Continuing with our initiatives, we have a multi-tiered system of support, school-wide reward system. We have a number of teams too, and we meet approximately 4 to 7 times a month among the between the 2 teams and among the many members. The multi-tiered system of support, there are 3 schools that are involved. Senator Dale and Maryville may have spoken about it in previous meetings, but it supports academic needs, support also behavioral needs, uses positive feedback. We use data to determine the need for intervention. Behaviors are defined school-wide, and expectations are posted in each classroom and are retaught regularly. We have school-wide training, and we have refresher courses as well for our MTSS program. And we will have one the first week in February also. We have voluntary after-school meetings that are attended by over 85% of the faculty and staff of McGuire School. And on the left-hand side, that is a slide of the last meeting that we had to update the faculty and staff on some revisions that have been made to the program. We also have behavioral expectations for all locations of the school, and they are reviewed periodically. And as a little token, the faculty also have flash drives that state our staff are Porsum. Our matrix is on the left. It's difficult to see on the slide there, but for every setting, we have a classroom, hallway, cafeteria, as well as the restroom, and for every place and time, arrival, dismissal, recess, and bus. And our bus monitors, our bus drivers, lunch personnel are also all part of this program. Our initiatives continue for our MTSS school-wide reward system. When a student receives a PAW buck from any of our staff member, which is our symbol, the paw, they put it in yellow reward buckets that my MTSS team, who are here with us tonight, created for the system. And once a classroom earns a designated amount of these paw bucks, they participate in a school-wide celebration. These celebrations are at the end of each month, and we began that in September. And we also have individual awards that are given monthly for Student of the Month. And we have a couple of pictures of some presentations. In September, we had a kickoff, again, in celebration of our NECAP scores. We had a science assembly. In October, Superintendent Smith read to the entire school. In November, we have the Audubon Society, and they gave a presentation on birds. In December, we had a presentation on reptiles. In January, we're going to, which is tomorrow, we're going to have Mr. Deep Positivity present to us. And in February, the Sadecki Puppets will be here to perform It Pays to Be Nice. And this is going to be a world premiere right now. Mr. Deep Positivity will be here tomorrow, and he created a song for us. So, Richard, what did I do? He prepped me for this too. It's 6 minutes. We'll only listen to a minute. Richard, what did I do again? I need you to hit the button, Richard. Thank you.
Mr. D-double-E-P, positivity. You gotta be
Along with our
prepared,
school matrix.
always respectful, work hard like me. With James L. McGuire Elementary School, these are the rules that we're all meant to do. Remember these rules, remember poor, prepared, always respectful, work hard more. With James L. McGuire Elementary School, these are the rules that we're all meant to do. Remember these rules, remember poor, prepared, always respectful, work hard more. You gotta be prepared every day for school. It's up to you to obey the rules. Be well rested, come to school on time, and have your supplies so you feed your mind. Stand in the straight line when you hear the bell. Place your things in the spot where they go as well. Have materials in your writing too, all set on your desk so you're ready to keep your eyes on the.
So you get the idea. So tomorrow we are going to premiere that to the faculty and the students. So a number of the faculty at McGuire have not even heard that song yet until this evening. In regards to technology, it's very useful, everyday resource in our instruction. Teachers use interactive whiteboards, laptops, cameras, docu-cams, as well as iPads to make instruction more comprehensible. Whiteboards are used daily for instructional kinds of activities, and the laptops are utilized for individual and small group research for reviewing previously taught concepts. Docu-cams are used for magnifying samples of students' work from pages of books, displaying, editing, and writing, and sometimes playing games by magnifying cards for the entire class. And the iPads are used by the ELL teachers as well as the resource teachers for translations, quick references for unfamiliar vocabulary, spelling, pictures, and for playing all sorts of educational games and movies, and even taking pictures. Continuing with technology in our English language learner program, at McGuire Elementary School, English learners benefit from frequent exposure to computers, to cameras and whiteboards, and they also are videotaped and taught the skills of presentation, self-evaluation, and peer evaluation. And our English language learner students are provided with websites to practice their language skills at home. And we have two of our students there. We have Austin and Mercedes. Henry from Mrs. Coffey's class is working on the interactive whiteboard on one of her lessons in this slide. Additional initiatives, collaboration, mainstream and ELL teachers. Every class at McGuire School has English language learners who benefit from adapting materials to suit their present need of language development and their classroom curriculum. Our ELL teachers meet with teachers and specialists to discuss the progress of the students before and after school. They share ideas and adapt materials using graphic organizers, games, websites, and so forth, and daily assistance with the ELL students' needs in the mainstream classrooms, as well as contacting parents. We also have a daily vocabulary study that's introduced in English and also in students' native languages. And this is new to us, and it's in our school hallway, and we announce the words in our morning announcements. These are our students of the month from probably October and November. I'd like to thank Beata DeConti for her contribution to the presentation, and she's pictured there with a number of her students as they are ready to begin taking the access test. At this time, I would like to call one of our students who has been with us since kindergarten, Melanie De Silva, and she's here with her mom and her sister, and she's going to come up. I'll take this.
Mrs. Smith, as a token of our appreciation, please accept this gift from McGuire School.
And that's Mrs. Smith at the end. So you hand that to Mrs. You carry it like this. One of our faculty members made that for you in central office. Yes. Beata DeConti made it, yes. Thank you. You're welcome. In closing, I would like to thank you for your attention and for my colleagues from McGuire School for joining me. I appreciate that, and I hope everyone has a good night.
Thank you very much for your presentation. We enjoyed it very much. Next.
Next item, I'd like to bring up Melissa Goho, the principal at Birchwood Middle School. Melissa's going to talk to us a little bit about a partnership she's establishing with Gateway Mental Health Services.
Good evening, everyone. Once again, I'm Melissa Goho. I'm principal of Birchwood Middle School. And tonight we are presenting an on-site behavioral health service from Gateway Healthcare that we'd like to implement at the school. So typically what we've been doing is looking at the school concerns, and some of the problems that we have is it's not just an intellectual problem. We also have social, physical, and emotional supports that need to be in place in order for students to learn. Some of our concerns are poor performance on state assessments, which everybody's concerned about that. But there's also student failures, attention problems, conduct and behavior problems, anxiety problems, depression, social and interpersonal problems, cutting, truancy, school phobia, substance abuse, poverty. It just goes on and on. What we find in the research was saying, okay, well, how do these factors play into school performance? Well, public schools play a major role in the identification and provision of mental health services. It's where it all begins. It's where we identify a lot of our problems. The Surgeon General's report describes schools as the primary setting for identification of mental disorders in children and in youth. One study of a school-based healthcare service in urban minority middle schools found that 1/3 of all health clinic visits were from mental health issues. Youngsters were seen primarily from family problems, symptoms of emotional disturbance, for example, anxiety, depression, suicidal tendencies, and situational problems such as bereavement. In 1999, the Surgeon General reported on mental health issue sites following prevalence. Estimates that 3 to 5% of school-aged children are diagnosed with attention deficit or hyperactivity disorder. 5% were major depression, and 13% were various anxiety disorders. The Youth Risk Behavior Survey, a national representative survey of youth, found problems ranging from daily sadness and hopelessness, experienced by 25% of students, to thoughts of suicide, 20%, to the attempt of suicide at 8%. Many of these youngsters had neither been identified nor received any services. Our goal at this point in time is to say, how does the school handle that? Well, we investigated some of our school site services through the HES grant, and we come upon the full service school model. In a full school service school community model, service agencies and schools team up to meet a whole range of school children's social, emotional, and academic needs, using the school building as the hub. A full service school is a place where families can get the help that they need: health, mental health, social services to support their children. The school building is open before and after school, in the evenings and on weekends and during the summer. One or more community-based agencies partner up with the school. Teachers, parents, students, and community partners are accountable for the outcomes. That means we all just come together. It's not just a cognitive need that we're facing every day, it's the non-cognitive needs that we have to help in service as well for our students to be successful. Gateway has come to us with a proposal, and due to the mental health services and substances use disorder demand for services among middle school students, Gateway Health Care and North Providence School Department are preparing for a provision on on-site behavioral health care services at the Birchwood Middle School. Their objective, or their goal, is to increase student engagement and compliance with recommended behavioral health care treatment, and to provide care coordination services with the school and other care providers in the community. Services will provide by Gateway staff or consultants and include mental health professionals, licensed clinicians, outreach caseworkers, clinical nurse specialists, and psychologists. Gateway staff will be permitted to provide on-site services during the school hours, starting one day a week, approximately at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and will stay till approximately 6 p.m. that evening, as defined and limited by the school officials. The school will provide appropriate office space, and the staff will be available through Gateway. What will the services provide? Gateway will provide the following services for a variety of mental health and substance use disorder problems, including suicide indication, anxiety, depression, school phobia, cutting, eating disorders, and ADHD. Gateway may also provide evaluation and assessment services, crisis intervention, medication management services provided by a licensed nurse or a physician, family education treatment, and care coordination. Gateway Healthcare will coordinate care and treatment as authorized by the students' guardians with the school staff and professionals. So what exactly does that mean? Yes, the school does have school psychologists and school social workers, but they are school level based. They are there to serve the academic needs to get the kids in class and doing what they have to do. But what we're finding is that many of our middle school students are coming in with much more need than just the academic need. They are definitely facing more crises and tendencies in the world today. Anxiety, school phobia are on a high, and those problems relate to other issues. Truancy, students refusing to come to school, cutting. You know, it's not that we can't help these kids. It's what happens is we can only provide so much service at the school level. We are not the doctors. And a lot of our times, our families, our students need a little bit more health care or answers. And a lot of our students receive state care, and it is sometimes a nightmare for us to get our students the services that they need because they go on a wait list for these services. By having Gateway in the school system for 1 day a week, it will save our families a lot of time and can actually have their counseling services right at school. A lot of our children sometimes get started on services but can't get the ride. School problems happen. I mean, life happens for parents. They can't get their kids there. The money runs out. They get busy. They can't get to where they need to get them to help that they need. So by providing the opportunity right in the school for them to have 1 day a week, they know that each week they can count on those services. In addition to, a lot of our students receive medication for ADHD. That medication has to be a prescription that is given to them once a month. The doctor cannot provide 3-month prescriptions like they do for most prescriptions. Parents have to pick up that prescription in the office, so they can't have the prescription faxed over to the pharmacy. That becomes a big endurance on families because each month they have to drive out to the doctor's office, they have to pick up the prescription, then they have to bring the prescription to the pharmacy. By having someone on site, a nurse practitioner, they can give the prescription right there. And students also have to, every 3 months, have it checked by their insurance company. They have to have a well check as well. So it kind of saves that time of having to make appointments at a doctor's office after school hours. So that way we're not really facing kids being pulled out of school to go to doctors because they can't get after school hours. So our hope is to have 1 day a week with Gateway to kind of help out with that service. And in the big picture is that Birchwood Middle School would like to become a full service model where everybody, the community of North Providence comes together in the central hub or the school, and parents feel comfortable, students feel comfortable, and they feel like they're more of a community, and the schools aren't this institution that they feel that they can't go for help.
Melissa, thank you so much. Next month, Chairman Marciano and members of the school committee, we will bring forward a formal contract that we've worked out with Gateway for your approval.
Okay, thank you again, Melissa. Any questions, anyone? Yes, Mr. Cataldi.
Daily. We all know when, you know, we know. And it sets up for a lot of our students because, you know, understandably so, the medication's not cheap. It's expensive. And, you know, it just sets them up for failure, starting first thing in the morning. And, you know, not that medication solves everything. By all means, it doesn't. But it does help a lot of our students that can't control it. And if they're set up for failure daily, if they're not receiving the proper medical care that they need. And again, it's not always medication. A lot of times it's that weekly therapy appointment, meeting with a counselor, getting strategies to deal with anxiety. Anxiety is on the height with a lot of our middle school students. You know, natural puberty, students entering that age group is overwhelming enough. And then more families where kids are going home in the afternoon because parents are working 2 or 3 jobs. They're going home, they're on the internet, they're, you know, not making wise choices, anxious behaviors. It's a reciprocal cycle ongoing. Well, I've only been in North Providence for a year and a half. In my 22 years of education, yes, it is getting harder and harder for the school environment to provide all the services that our kids need. They're outgrowing the school level psychologist and the school level social worker. They're there to maintain children's support during the school day, but we are actually relying on our social workers and our psychologists. We're exhausting them, you know, and we have to keep that in mind as well. They can't fix everything. I mean, our social workers, she can see up to 20, 30 kids in one day.
Okay, any other questions, anyone?
Thank you.
Oh.
All this feedback that they're getting from the computer and social interactions with little children right now, it's destroying them. And
Technology
at what point
is
do
a double-edged
at what
sword.
point do the parents assume this responsibility and take it off the school department? How much can we do?
Well, we can provide the location. So a lot of times, and that's really what we're doing. We're providing the location because this service is not going to be a part of what the school budget actually pays for. We're just providing a location that's closer to home. Many of our parents have cars, break down frequently, don't have cars. They rely on the bus service to get up into, you know, to and from places. Gateway is not close by to Birchwood, so sometimes they have to take one bus into the city and transfer to another bus to get their health services. Now you have to bring a child with you. I mean, that's where it becomes the problem. So it's more of just the building that we use. I mean, we don't use the building technically after 2:30, and that's a great start to have that so close by for many families.
So much of this going on, it's like something's wrong.
Well, we're definitely, Rhode Island in itself is definitely facing a lot more issues, and poverty is a main issue in Rhode Island. So we're definitely hitting more and more issues with poverty, which is the onset for a lot of these problems.
Look, thank you very much, Mrs. Goho. Any other questions? No?
All right,
Okay.
thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, yep.
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the financial report as submitted.
Need a motion?
So
Motion by Ms. Picard, seconded by Mr. Iannetta. Discussion? Go ahead, Gina.
Mr. McNamee, I have one question. I noticed that in the purchase property services, you had noted that we had not received a bill since July. I was just curious why we didn't receive a bill since July. John, were you sleeping over there? You were, I cut you off guard.
You're talking
Are you
about,
playing solitaire?
you're talking about the trash removal?
Yes.
Yeah. We had, that was last year. So when we switched over to the town's trash removal company, we didn't receive a bill for like 6 months.
Do we know why?
Well, my assumption is I didn't have to pay
Oh my
for
God,
it,
it's
but that was a bad assumption because.
Right, because now it's hitting us now.
So now we got the
Right.
bill, so.
Okay,
We are
so
paying roughly the same as we were.
it's not a good reason why I'm saying, John.
No, I had to pay it, but.
Well, yeah, but, okay. Do they think we were paying 6 months, 6 months?
No.
Any further questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted. Next item.
We do not have any homeschool requests this evening. Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the field trip requests as submitted.
Motion by Mrs. Picard, seconded by Mr. Angiosi, I believe. All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted. Next
Be it
item.
resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the contract for the Winter Ball 2016 as submitted.
Motion by Mr. Iannetta. Who seconded that? Second by Mr. Cataldi. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted. Next item.
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the one-year designation of council as submitted.
Need a motion? Motion by Mr. De Silva, seconded by Mr. Cataldi. Anyone else? And the remainder of the committee. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted. Next item.
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the job description, and this is for the IT educator as submitted.
You need a motion? Motion by Mr. Iannetta, seconded by? Let's see, Mr. Cataldi. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted.
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the removal of textbooks from inventory as submitted.
Motion by Mrs. Picard, seconded by Mr. Angiosi. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted.
We do not have any bids this evening. Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the resignations as submitted.
Motion by Mrs. Picard, seconded by Mr. Iannetta. Discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted.
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the leave of absences as submitted.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Andriozzi, seconded by Mrs. Picard. Discussion, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted.
Do not have any layoffs or renewals this evening. Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the following appointments as submitted. Louisa Caswell as payroll manager, John Jeremiah, first shift custodian at Greystone Elementary School, Robert Lupoli, second shift custodian at Ritchie Middle School, and Beth Stevenson, secondary grade 7 to 12 ESL teacher at North Providence High School.
We need a motion. Motion by Mr. Iannetta, seconded by Mr. Cataldi. Discussion, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted. Next item.
We do not have any layoffs or rescissions this evening. Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the 2016 Rhode Island Student Survey as submitted.
Motion by Mr. Iannetta, seconded by Mrs. Picard. Discussion, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted.
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the revised Human Resource Coordinator's job description as submitted.
Motion by Mr. Angiosi, I believe, and seconded by Mr. Palmieri. Discussion, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted.
And be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the revised Assistant Superintendent Secretary job description as submitted.
Motion by Mr. Angiosi, seconded by Mr. Silva. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted.
Item number 20 for the RFP for the camera system at the high school is tabled. And next item is the announcement of committee appointments by chair.
Okay. The appointments are, everyone has a copy of the appointments, and I would hope that everyone does a good job like you have been doing, so the appointments are as submitted. Nope. Next. Nope. Request to, I guess. Request to adjourn, right?
Request to address the committee.
All right, there's that's the copy here, wine and cheese restaurant owner. Good evening, Mr. Kobe.
Speak on microphone. Sure. All right. Good evening, everybody. A little bit more. Can I pull this one down a little bit?
What do you say?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Nestor Jupi, and I'm the owner of Wine and Cheese Restaurant in North Providence, Smith Street, 1861. First of all, I would like to take the opportunity to thank the committee for taking the time and listening to our concerns about the matter. I'm going to just bring it up. I just want to be very specific of all the events that happened in the past, from the beginning, 4 years ago, all the way up until now. The project that I'm talking about, it's on 1859 Smith Street. They call it Hammersmith Estate. And this project was, to our understanding and what we believe was intentionally wrong from the get-go. And then, ironically, at that stage, 4 years ago, nothing was done to stop it. And also, the way that we look at it right now, nothing is getting done to correct everything that is done wrong in order to prevent any other consequences that would arise. The neighborhood ended up paying the price for the wrongdoing, both residents and businesses. When those concerns were brought up, the answers, they were like, it's a civil matter, and then we should hire a lawyer about it. So the town was not there for us, because obviously the damages and everything else was something, it's an issue between the neighbors and the developers. When the project was rushed to be approved, which is the first project, was the cluster development, and the way they understand that it building oversized building on an undersized lot. This project was opposed by all the neighbors and the businesses, and also by the planning board, and this project was put away. That was the beginning and of this whole project and this whole situation. Now we're dealing with a second plan of another version of developing the land. And the answer right now that we have facing, it is that not only we cannot correct what is done wrong, but now we're dealing with the answer that is nothing we can do to stop the developer to develop his land and build as many houses that he is allowed to.
Excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt you. Did you say the planning board oppose this?
The zoning board opposed the cluster development. There was, I think it was a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. So when this plan, the cluster development, went from the planning board to the zoning board is the one that says we cannot do that because, first of all, it's limitation in the town of North Providence, as far as I remember. And the second of all, it was that a project like this was never done before in the town of North Providence.
So did the zoning board approve this?
The zoning board didn't approve it. The zoning board sent the developer back to the planning to come up with another version of developing the land,
Okay.
which now we're dealing with the second version of developing the land. And it's not anymore the cluster development, but it's building units. And I think it's 8 new units that they were planning to build in this lot. So this is just a little history that I'm trying to bring in here just for all of us to understand, you know, what exactly we're dealing and how all this project is going to affect the present and the future, not only as a residence, not only as a town, but has to do, I think, to my understanding, with the schooling system as well. It's three things that I want to bring it up. The three important things, and it may be a lot of other things, which I'm not well aware. It's new experience for me, dealing with a situation, going from one board meeting to another one, go from one committee meeting to another one. So it's a lot of unknown, but it's a lot of that we already know that it might occur, that it's going to happen. Then it's going to be probably a ground for other mistakes to happen, which I think we're going to be dealing and we're going to be facing in the near future.
Excuse me,
first-
I just want to ask you a question. Do you have an attorney that represents you?
Do I need an attorney?
No, I say, did you have an attorney representing you?
Correct. We have an attorney on the previous cases that we had before, and then our attorneys, they never had any success to get into somewhere. So the thing is right now that in my presentation, what I think right now it is that I don't need an attorney to come in here, but when the issues are going to arise and I'm going to need an attorney, then I will be the
No,
first one to get.
Excuse me, I didn't mean you don't need an attorney to come
Correct.
here. There's no question about that. But for the variance, for the zoning board, or any board of that nature, you really need a legal representation for that. Not
Correct.
to come here, but
Correct.
yeah.
And when I spoke with my attorney, basically told me that whatever you're doing right now is nothing that we can do more for you. We're going to do the same thing. When the time comes that you're going to need an attorney, we will be right there, right next to you. So we're not into that stage of the attorney yet. We're just kind of in the stage of the presentation and exactly bring it to your attention what exactly we are dealing right now. So the first things that I want to bring it up, it is the blasting stage, all right, with this development. The blasting stage originally was not allowed by the planning board on the previous meeting, not on the last one, but the one before that. But on the last one, the blasting option was treated as a primary option. All of us know that the blasting is a cost-effective for the developers and very costly for the people that would deal with the aftermath, especially when these kind of developments are being surrounded by residential, local businesses, state roads, schools, and so forth. Also, in many occasions, it happened that the money was put on bonds and the insurance from the developers, they were not enough to cover all the damages. The process to this nature, all right, is not only frustrating, which it is frustrating right now, but also it's costly and endless.
Not to interrupt, but I think the members of the school committee want to know how this is going to specifically impact the school district.
Correct.
So, yeah.
The school committee, it is that those money, if it's not going to be enough, it's going to be, to my understanding and based off how I look at things, all right, that it's going to be money that is going to be taken away somewhere in order to cover damages that not only is going to be done towards the properties and the businesses, but also to the schooling as well. So if the blasting is going to happen and it's going to create damages on the foundation, let's say on the high school, on North Providence High School, I'm not quite sure, all right, that those money, they're going to be enough to cover any kind of damages that are going to be created. So my understanding it is, if we don't have a prediction of how much damages they're going to be created, and if all this money that is going to be put on bond is not going to be enough, then who's going to be the first one to grab out of this money, and who's going to be the one that is going to be the last one?
Yeah, I can't answer that question, but I know you need a license to do any kind of blasting at all. That's number
Correct.
one. And you need insurance to back that up. The company that's doing it has to be bonded.
Correct.
So
Correct. So what I'm saying in here, when I personally brought this thing to the planning board, the answer that I got it is, when in order for you to cover yourself up, why you don't increase your premium insurance on your end? So my answer it is, all right, how I will be, why do I have to increase my insurance, all right, for something that has nothing to do with me? So what I'm saying it is, all right, I don't need to increase my premium insurance if the developer is gonna guarantee everybody with his money and his insurance to cover all the damages itself.
Yeah, you know, I know where you're coming from, and I understand your dilemma, but there's not much this committee can do about that, you know?
Correct.
I think everyone sympathizes with the problem, but I think the insurance issue, no one can force you to get insurance. If the builder or who's ever doing this project is smart, I'm sure he has ample insurance. So he'd be responsible for any damages to your home.
And then how about if those kind of damages is gonna affect the schooling system and it's
Yeah.
correct. And this town, when the money that is gonna be done, where this town is gonna get the money from, it's only one way when the town is gonna get the money from, which is, all right, increase the taxes on the businesses and on the residents. So the money has to come from somewhere if the money doesn't exist over there. This is my angle, and this is what.
This is out of our purview. This would have to, because the buildings and the planning all done through the town council, this would have to sit with them. We have a subcommittee, but it's about like rental property, that level of oversight happens with the town council.
Okay.
With the mayor.
Now, Dave Westcott, Dave, can you enlighten us on this project? And I don't mean to interrupt you, sir, but he's the,
Okay.
you know, he's town planner.
Correct.
Thank you. My name is Dave Westcott. I'm the town planner. You may have read in the breeze today that the developer who was proposing the rock excavation is in the process of selling the development. It's an approved development for 8 units on 2.7 acres. The new developer has met with the planning department and expressed a desire to avoid rock excavation on the site completely. So I really think at this point, this is a moot point as far as this committee is concerned, and I would recommend that you accept the comments of Mr. Juppie, as important as they are, but take it under advisement pending a new development plan for this particular parcel.
You, David. Yeah, we certainly understand your plight, and, you know, go on.
The next thing that I want to bring up, it is when this plan, actually it's in the first stages of developing and putting 8 units. It's a lot of things that the neighbors, they brought it to the planning board meeting that has to do with directly with the schooling department, has to do with the kids, that has to do with the question. They're probably right. They're very, I mean, I understand that they're a question that has to do with the safety of the kids, the public school. We brought it to their meeting, and the answers that we got is we don't know. Few of the things that it's how about the school buses, how they're going to go up in the development when the development itself is like a slope and it's not like a flat. What the safeguard are the safeguards they're going to be over there for kids? The sidewalks inside the development, which basically is not going to be any sidewalks. How about the snowing? I mean, how the plowing and the sanding of this whole property? Is it going to be done by the homeowners association? Is it going to be something that the town has to do with that? And then, because we're not going to have any sidewalk, how the safety of the kids, they're going up and down the hill, all right, we're going to guarantee their safety. Another thing is the traffic lights, all right, for the safety of the kids, again, knowing the fact that Smith Street is a very, very narrow street with a high volume of traffic, and where in the last 2 years, a lot of small and major accidents have happened. And how about the kids with disabilities, which might have the safety measures and the tools in order to guarantee their safety and provide to them all the necessary tools so they can enjoy the same lifestyle that everybody else does. So this is something, all right, that I think personally directly has to do with the schooling system, and I think it's on everybody's concern. I was supposed to be the first one to approve a plan like this one, because, and everybody comes to me and says, well, it's more people for you that you're going to feed to your restaurant. It's more, and I said to them, yes, it is. But I'm not looking at it right now in the short period of time. I'm looking at the long period of time, how this thing is going to affect not only my business, but all the residents around. I live in Cranston, but I have my business in North Providence for the last 7 years. And believe it or not, I spend more time in North Providence than I spend in Cranston. So I'm very well aware, okay, of the things and the community around in here. I love the people. I love my customer come at the restaurant, and I care about them, and I worry about them, and I want them to be safe. The old people, the young people, the kids, the elderly, the couples, and everybody else. So this is why my intention is to come in here, because it's not personal. It's something that I have to look at it as a thing, as a part of the community. And when I see something wrong, not me, but all our neighbors around, which I brought a petition in here with 50 signature, which Mr. Burrow, which is my, we call each other co-pilot, unfortunately cannot be here. His mother passed away this week. So he's the one that comes to me with all the meetings. And this is the things that we brought it not only to the planning committee, to planning board, we brought it to the zoning board, we brought it to the building inspectors, we brought it to Mayor Lombardi, we brought it to everybody else. And the answers that we got it is, we don't know. We don't know what's gonna happen. We're not responsible for what happened before. And I'm not saying you guys in here, you have to give me the answers for the answer that I cannot find somewhere else. I'm not in here, I'm not looking for an answers. I'm here to just present so you can have and take a look before and prior if a piece of paper is gonna put on you and it's gonna say everybody approved it. Now it's your turn to sign it.
Mr. Palmieri, you have a question?
No, I just wanted you to know that whatever we decided, it's not going to affect, we haven't got a vote on this. This is the council.
Correct.
You know, this is a
Correct.
council problem. I understand, I know where you are.
Correct.
You know, and it's, I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what did you
Correct.
come here to have us make a vote or something?
No,
Because,
I didn't
you know,
come in here to make a
because
vote,
again, it
but
doesn't-
I want,
because the vote's not going to mean anything.
but I want everybody in this committee to know exactly what the situation. I'm not looking for a
Yeah.
vote.
I think, no, thank you for bringing this to our attention. And
It's another thing, one last thing, which is the cost of the kids they're gonna be living in this development. I mean, based on what I know, and might be my numbers, they're not might be the right numbers. It is that for every kid that goes to school in the town of North Providence, I think it's around $10,000 cost a year. I don't know if it's more, I don't know if it's less. So if it's 15, Mr. Palmieri, now on 8 units, I'm assuming that it's gonna be at least a kid. So if I do the math right, 8 times 15, it's $120,000 that is gonna cost the town of North Providence. If we theoretically assume that the property taxes on this residential unit is gonna be around average 33,500 to 4,000, let's assume so. So 8 units is $32,000. So the numbers there is 120 minus 82. You got the difference of 90 plus something dollars. Now, these numbers, okay, they have to come from somewhere. And development like this one, they can happen anywhere. So this is the numbers and this is the facts that we bring in still to all the committees. And the answer, you know what it is? It's a question that is coming directly to us. It says, are you against to bring families with kids in here? And we said, no, we're not against that. But before we bring the families and with kids in here, we got to make sure that we provide something for us. We provide something that it's going to be better than what it is already, not for them, but for all of us.
thank you very much for bringing this to our attention.
I think I've talked to Steve Andriozzi millions of times about this and all the properties that are coming up and what the cost is going to be to the school district. And it's going to be astronomical. There's no doubt, but I don't know what the answer is. I don't have one.
Correct. I don't have one either. And when I ask for the answer, it is, we don't have one.
Any other comments, anyone? Okay, thank you very much for
Thank
bringing
you.
this to our
Thank you
attention.
for all your time. And if you like, I can leave a copy.
Sure. Next item. Okay. Naming rights to the school, Mr. Palmieri and Mr. Andriozzi. Mr. Palmieri, go ahead.
About a year ago, Steve and I came up with the notion of naming rights for the schools, and that was including new schools and naming cafeterias and, you know, donations through people. And with this new bond issue and everything that's going on with these millions of dollars, I just think it's time that we really look into the fact again. I don't want you to think we're sitting on this, but there's this facilities committee now, and we're coming up with this new planning, but these new schools that are being built really have to be named by whoever wants to come up with the money to name them. And we could make millions of dollars on this, and it would be a savings to the taxpayers. I mean, I've said this before, and what we haven't really looked into, I think, Steve, what did you ask for? Didn't you ask for something?
I thought we had asked for someone to write an RFP for it. I thought we had asked for maybe some help with grants, and grant writing, and nothing has progressed. To take it a step further, Steve, we've now hired some consultants to help us with the facilities. A construction company has come on board that's going to go out to the community and advocate for us also. And I think this is something they should bring with them. You know, it should be a tool that they should use. To use the word sell the project to the public, I think it's something they need to take with them instead of, you know, leaving it on the shelf and waiting till the properties are developed and built and then getting it done. I think it's something we can be in the forefront and use it in the beginning. You know, I think people will be more excited about it. That's just my theory, my
Definitely
idea.
a problem getting the issue out there. I mean, I don't know how to do it. I mean,
May I make a suggestion? The construction manager that we hired, a portion of his job is going to be some promotional work. And so we could include it in his promotional work that this is available to people. In addition, I would suggest that we put together a policy and, you know, have it vetted through a subcommittee so that we have a good policy in place around naming rights. So those two things I think we can start to work on.
okay.
We also have the possibility of acquiring some, I'm going to call it swing space for the time being, but potentially becoming full-time space. And, you know, this is another building that may come on board that we may be able to use, you know, some extra funds with, you know, where we can possibly get some names put on that building also.
Well, Steve, we'll have to just meet again. And I know the mayor was on board with it when we first talked about it. I think we should just get back on board with it and take it to the media again like we did the first time. But it got all messed up because they started with the new schools and what schools they were going to close. And it made it a little iffy with people donating money to schools that may be torn down. So now that it's getting into that stage where we kind of know what we're going to do, I think we should definitely put a tag on that as to, you know, like I said, cafeteria, labs and music department. People will pay for that. I know they will.
Quick question, Superintendent. You said policy committee for naming rights, which, and your other suggestion was that this could be a tool that is used for the promulgation of the project by I forgot who we hired.
The construction manager has like a PR.
Who did we hire?
Gilbane.
Gilbane. Thank you.
In addition, we can also add a tab to the Educational Foundation's website so that if someone visits that website to make a donation, they'll see that there is a naming rights option, and then I'll have the, you know, forward that information to both of you.
It's a great idea.
So my last question before we finish is that should this be written up in a policy? Should this be written up in some kind of contractual form? Should it be written up as an RFP? Should it be written up? How, like, what is the what should we do? And that's what we're probably asking help here for, is we need to make sure that we do this correctly.
I mean, pricing, what the things should cost. Should we talk to our attorney and see what he comes up with? Or I mean,
if I were going to give you an amount of $10,000, whatever, I'm just using that money, and to name a gym after my family, the Silva family gym, whatever.
Right.
I'd want to know how long.
Exactly.
The terms. How do I pay it? How long does it get named after me? Is it an annual thing? Is it one time? So I think.
So maybe Andrew can put something
Yeah,
together.
I think we really need a policy and all the parameters of that in place. And I'm not sure we could go out for asking people to solicit.
Oh, no, you have to have it
So we
down.
have it
You
all.
definitely have to have it set. Steve, I know a lot of the,
Given $10,000.
I know like at Wheeler School and Moses Brown, a lot of those places have these kind of fundraisers, And I'm gonna meet with one of these people who actually do the fundraising, because they hire companies that do this and it be done professionally. So when I meet with them, you can join me on board, all right?
All right, so you guys are going to research the matter?
Yeah, we're gonna do it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next item is Mr. Andriozzi.
Some time ago, we had discussed implementation of cameras in the buses. It was probably about a year ago. In the process, at that point, we were talking about, I believe, using some money that we may have found through, I want to say fines that were given to us through the state for people who pass the buses when the lights are on, so forth and so on. I don't know how much money we've collected over the year. I'm not exactly sure, but it was also said to us at that point in time that we would look into having cameras put on the buses when we had a new contract with the bus company. It is now a new school year. I know I waited a little too long. The buses do not have cameras inside them. I just was wondering if, this is being thought of, if it's got left behind, because I thought we had a vote and we approved the possibility of having cameras put on the buses. And I'd just like to know what the process is right now and where we stand in the process.
Mr. Andriozzi, I'm going to defer in a minute to Mr. McNamee, but we did add the cameras on the buses in the RFP that went out for the new contract. However, when the contract came in, it came in over budget. So you might want to elaborate on that, John.
Yeah, we when we did put it out, a lot of the busing companies do have cameras on the buses now. The busing company that we use do not. We did put that in the RFP, and we negotiated that out to reduce the cost because we had a sizable increase in the cost per bus. We had talked to our IT group about installing those cameras, and we did get a price of about $1,500 per bus to install these. There's probably about 18 buses that we need to put those on if we're going to put them on all the buses. Those are just the larger 71 passenger buses, because some buses will be used as extras and whatnot. Probably would not be on the sped buses at this point. So that cost was somewhere in that 25,000 range in that area. And it was a decision that I think as we go forward, if we do look at another busing company, those cameras would be provided. In this case, we'd have to buy them, install them, and then we're not sure whether we'd get a 5-year useful life out of them at this point in time.
And that's understandable. And I understand where you're coming from, that we're purchasing cameras for a bus company, and who knows, 2 years from now they may not be the bus company of choice any longer. Where I was going with this also is the fact that I know some monies were collected on fines from the cameras that are on the exterior of the buses, and I was just curious as to this point what we've collected in fines and why that money could not have been used to I guess, offset the cost of the implementation of the cameras in the bus.
Well, it certainly can. We're getting roughly about $2,700 a year on those. So we've had, right now, we've probably got a couple of years in. We've got some monies that haven't been submitted at this point in time, but it looks like we're running between $2,500 and $3,000 right now per year. That was substantially less than what we thought we were going to be getting, because I think at one time we were looking at closer to $9,000. But as you dig through the contract, and we're getting about 12.5% now of that contract. So the state takes 12.5%, the vendor takes 75%, and that leaves us with 12.5% of fines collected. So it's somewhat less than what we anticipated that we would be getting on that too. So we also talked about doing putting them on buses selectively as well, too, but there were some pros and cons about that. You don't have them on one bus, you have an incident on the bus, how come the camera's not on that bus? It's clearly something that I think we need to do. It's just that right now, it's tough with the financial, the deficit from last year, and we can put it in next year's budget. And we can.
Well, I would like you said, in the next RFP for the next bus contract, at least, consider, the company that puts in the bids, if it's close enough. I mean, maybe we should just do it and go with the company that has the cameras instead of, investing our own money into it.
Yeah, they all have the cameras, and basically what they'll do is they'll put that in the daily bus rate over the 5-year period. But a lot of them will have GPS, they'll have cameras, and a lot of times they'll have more than one camera as well, too. They'll have a camera in the front, which catches the driver. Then they'll have one in the back as well. So one that'll catch the driver in the front of the bus, and then one in the back, too. So that was the other issue. One camera may not have been enough. So that 1,500, I believe, was just for one. Then we'd have to add a camera, and so it was getting a little bit complicated, especially when we didn't have a 5-year contract on that bus.
Thank you for the update. And presently, we have a 5-year contract with the bus company. Is that what we have right now, or is it shorter?
No, we have a 2-year contract with 3 1-year option renewals, and that is at our discretion.
It is my goal to, sorry, Mr. McNamee, it's my goal to bring before the school committee in September to go out for RFP.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate the update.
Thank you.
Mr.
And,
Chairman, just a question.
Yes.
Superintendent, I sat in at a bus. You sat with a bus company. Was it Durham? I sat in on that. They're pretty much state of the art. I don't know where we stand in terms of negotiating with them, but I think they indicated they would respond to an RFP if you went out in a year from now. Am I mistaken? No. So.
And we're in the process of finding out from other bus companies in the area, what are their services that they can offer. But Durham was interested in submitting an RFP when we go back out.
If I recall, they were willing to offer flexibility in terms of software and rescheduling. Of course, sometimes the town can get a little crazy with some of the streets we have, but if I do recall that meeting, they had pretty much the state of the art on all their buses in terms of camera, software, technology, central office, and I believe everything's monitored. Was it in Worcester, up in Massachusetts, or Connecticut? It wasn't here in Rhode Island, where their central hub is, where they do all their Massachusetts. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Andriozzi. Okay.
Use of property, be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the use of property requests as submitted.
Moved by Mrs. Picard, seconded by Ms. Dianetta. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed?
I'm sorry. I have a discussion.
Okay, Rob wants discussion.
Yeah, I can't write into no. I can. I didn't come in with my form. I was going to make a form. So the property usage, I got a notice from a communication from Mr. Goho, from Glenn, and it regards using the gyms by the leagues to whom we've given. You're aware of that already?
I'm aware of giving them notice of the appropriate equipment.
Okay, so the appropriate equipment, and I figured I'd bring it here in case you. So the issue is they spent $20-some-odd thousand, $22,000, $25,000 on a gym floors. They're gorgeous, money well spent. And we don't want leagues coming in here to evaluate their baseball using cleats, hard balls, bats. If they're going to bat, then I think they have the big batting cage that comes down with the rubber. And so we need to communicate that. I asked about our baseball and softball teams. They've invested in new equipment, which in terms of balls, it's a special ball that you use indoor. I think the kids can just use tennis balls or something like that. If they're going to use our facilities for evaluation. This would be North Province East, North Province West, any softball league. Then we need to make sure that we let them know what's going to be used and not going to be used. And if they can't, I don't want to sound like a hard person, go somewhere else. If you can't come in here and respect the investment we made, we don't want dents, we don't want cleats, we don't want mud. They're here to evaluate how kids run, throw, and all that. They can do that in a way that protects our investment in our floors.
Okay.
So we need to send that to
A
those leagues.
communication will be sent out to the interested parties.
Well, we've already given property usage, so we're going to follow up on this now.
Right. Good.
Yes, that'd be great.
They're going to make a motion to.
Make a motion to,
To send out correspondence to
Yep.
all
Perfect.
the leagues that use our facilities at the high school,
Okay.
explaining the investment that we put into the floors and that around the use of those facilities.
Okay. Very nice. And then the second, who wants to second that? Second, Mary. Discussion, all those in favor? Just have it so voted. Okay.
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the list of bills as submitted.
Motion by Mrs. Picard, seconded by Mr. Iannetta. Discussion, all those in favor? Opposed, ayes have it so voted. Next,
I make a motion to seal and approve the executive session minutes for December 16, 2015, pursuant and applicable provisions of Rhode Island General Law 42-46-4 and 5.
by Mrs. Picard, seconded by the Iannetta. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it so voted.
And I make a motion to approve the general session minutes 16, 2015, January 11, 2000.
Motion by Mr. Seconded by Mr. Iannetta. All those in favor? Opposed, ayes have it so voted. Adjourn is in order.